Abora Boye Boshish is I Ifakalade, Umilade, Bato, scene of Sacred Waters Healing Temple, home of divine mysticism, ancestral veneration, and ancient medicine from modern times. This is a sacred space rooted in wisdom, healing, and the living traditions of our ancestors. Here, we guide individuals in reconnecting with their lineage, destiny, and their spiritual practice through the teachings of Ifa Isheshe, along with practical tools for wealth, wellness, and legacy building. I, Ivakolade, have been a practitioner of divine mysteries for over 18 years. My work is centered in helping individuals to align with their legacy through wealth, wisdom, and wellness in this lifetime. Sacred Waters Healing Temple is the home of ancestral medicine. One of our core services is ancestral discovery and genealogy consultations to assist individuals with tracing their lineage, uncovering their heritage, and reconnecting with their ancestral names and stories. In Ifa Sheshe, knowing your ancestors is the foundation of spiritual connection. They are the first spirits that you call name. We offer consultations and budget-friendly packages to assist you on your ancestral journey. I also offer wealth and wellness consulting, whether it's real estate, credit and finance, tax preparation, life insurance, mutual fund investing, wills and trust formation, identity and legacy formation. My goal is to help you align your spirituality and financial responsibilities with your destiny, your path on this journey. I am a practitioner of Iwe, the sacred science of herbs, oils, tinctures, candles, and ritual medicines. Many of us in the diaspora forget that the herbs in our own backyard carry spiritual and healing power. If you're looking to connect with the ancestral herbal wisdom, I offer guidance and homemade remedies. As an Ipete, the wife of a Rumila within the Ifa tradition, I also teach sacred roles of women within Ifa and Isheshe. Ifa Isheshe. I assist those who are interested in discovering their destiny, strengthening their spiritual gifts, understand their sacred roles, heal from societal misconceptions, and more. We offer nightly classes for women who want to grow spiritually within the tradition. If you're a part of an Ile and you want to um, discover how you can build your own spiritual Ile, your own home, whether it's you as an individual or you have your own family, husband, wife, children, or you want to work within a community, whatever they may be, I am offering consultations to help you to establish, build, protect, and preserve your spiritual legacy. If you are not a part of an Ile, but you feel called to walk this path, you are welcome to schedule a consultation with me as well. All of the services that I'm offering here are embodied within healing practices of Ifa Isheshe. So whether it's spiritual guidance, divination, ancestral wisdom, and ritual work, the Pet training, getting women's instructions, spiritual development and masteries. Our philosophy with Sacred Waters Healing Temple is that, you be the water. You be the water. And I'll be the bridge. And I will promise you that I will not let you drown. Along with building your legacy, understanding the pragmatic and philosophical approach, along with understanding your calling, your destiny here on this earth, and helping you to protect and preserve what that may be, I am offering or partnering alongside of Aloye Ifa Kerede, a chief elder and professor of Yoruba religious practices of sage wisdom of over 50 years, over 50 years of information about what Ifa Isheshe is, and so much more within his mystical mind. He is offering a 4-part lecture series for those, whether you're just beginning, you've been in the tradition for a long time, and you just want to get refreshed, or you've you've been curious about what this is all about. He has a Ifa Isheshe 4-part lecture series that he's offering for beginners, non-initiates, or individuals simply seeking a grounded, mystical, pragmatic approach of what Ifa Isheshe is all about. This is definitely what you want if you're an individual that's seeking practical, spiritual development, whether it be for yourself, for your children, or for Ile that you are also trying to establish in your future. This is the part that you need. This is the part that you want to incorporate to assist in grounding. And so, if you're looking to connect, if you're interested in connecting, the links will be provided in the description. We welcome you to be a part of this Carriday Nation, this Sacred Waters Healing Temple of ours, and just understand what this spiritual movement is all about. If you're ready to reconnect with your Ashe, your Ashe, your own Ashe, your own spiritual path, I invite you to join us. Schedule a consultation, a class. Simply stay connected with the temple, and we will not let you drown, I promise. Abora boye, aboshishe.
Uh, how are you today?
I am amazing, more than amazing, fantastic.
Okay, all right.
Yes, Ashe,
Got all my vibes happening because I'm always uh,
Ashe.
surprised and held in astonishment at 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 what life and growing within life brings about. I did get an opportunity to get outside this morning. The weather in Jersey is breaking a bit, so I'm break dancing, okay, in my spirit. Getting out there, getting the sun. You know, breathing the air, being out in what I call the tamed forest, the park, you know, and making the best of every sacred moment.
Of ourselves. Ashe, wonderful,
Mm-hmm.
wonderful, wonderful. Me and the kids, we did go out today, and we really, we really put forth a lot of effort into recruiting people for the revival that Sacred Waters is going to be having.
Okay, all right. So it's in the makings. It's under construction.
It's under construction. Yeah,
Yeah.
our
All right.
own revival, rather. Is I'm just joking. Alafia Borboye Dre, welcome this Sunday. Thanks for being a part of today's session.
All right. I love you, Dre. All right. Peace, brother.
Dre just completed the 4-part lecture series with us.
All right.
I give thanks to Dre for being a part of that. I want to give him a special shout out for that. Um,
Okay.
he did complete that part of Carriday Nation. Welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. Carriday
Mhm.
Nation and Sacred Waters Healing Temple.
All right. All right.
That 4-part lecture series was
And with the 4-part lecture series, people understanding that that's a stepping stone, as we say. After the 4 parts, all right, as shit going, Dre was amazing. After that, there's much to be offered. It's a continuation. You know,
absolutely.
with Sacred Waters Healing Temple, Caraday Nation. We are working together harmoniously, to bring
Mhm.
forth a pragmatic approach to Ifa Isheshe philosophy. And,
Mhm.
and it is making itself known in
Yeah,
all kinds of good ways. Would you say so?
I
EMD?
certainly would. I certainly would. I've had my own transformation in this time of being a part of it. I'm seeing the growth in other people that's a part of the community on our WhatsApp group. I see it's really sticking with people. So I am more than thankful to be sharing this space with. I appreciate it. He said transparent and inspirational.
I say. And what brings light to that, or should I say more light to that, is I'm hearing more of people's uh, explanations, their comments, their conversations, uh, and it's evident that they're picking up on what's shared with
Mm-hmm.
the Sunday 566 services that we offer, along with the Awake with the Five daily
Yeah.
program on YouTube. You know,
Yes.
it's braiding itself into people's understandings, and people are expressing their understandings. And then I
Mm-hmm.
hear terms, and people are, basically quoting statements that resonate with them, and
Mm-hmm.
that's when you know, uh, not only that people are listening, but they are absorbing. That they are bringing this into their Isheshe experience. We're not just layers on sidewalk. It's like, no, we're the flowers and the grass is pushing up through the concrete. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Making our presence known.
That's true.
And I'm elated because of that.
Me too. Me too. I'm glad that people are finding their ways towards something that's very authentic and true,
Yeah.
transparent, as he said, as well. This is a space that those who want transparency, this is where you belong. This is where you'll find it. No matter where you are in life, you could find it here with the Sacred Waters Healing Temple. Whether you've been in it for years, you just started, lost your way, stuck in between trying to figure things out, in the church, not in the church, in the mosque, not in the mosque,
Mhm.
single parent, in a wheelchair, disabled, wherever you are.
Got something for you.
Yeah, you can find it here. Whatever you're into, it's fine. Okay. And I want to make that very clear because these spaces, come with a whole lot of, I don't know, whoop de doo, and people, I don't know, it's almost like they're going right back to the churches. They tell you to come as you are, but then when you get there, you're being judged for this, and that. So I just want to let you know that you're welcome to be a part of here. Okay.
I just had a conversation yesterday night with Iyawa Adeola,
Mm-hmm.
at Carriday, and it was kind of rolling on that same vibe. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
uh, everybody is kind of, as we say, lost in the sauce, and the whole notion of uh, can't see the forest for the trees,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, let's switch that up a little bit. Okay. Hi, Adiola, just called your name. Okay. Let's switch that up a little bit. And let's say we can't see the trees for the forest. And, she and I had a great conversation. She's very insightful, and we've been knowing each other like a very, very long time. So, that whole, we're not looking at you as an individual. We're just trying to mesh you into the group.
Mm-hmm.
We don't really see you as a unique being that has made your way into our circle, into our tribe, into our nation. It's like we need to hurry up and get everything we can out of you in case you change your mind.
Yeah.
We got to make you a part of the group.
Mm-hmm.
We're not concerned with your individuality, but here, and it has always been that way with me. And Iyawa Adeola can attest because she was in the early movement of people who were coming to Ile Tawolana,
Mm-hmm.
back in the 90s. But it's like, who are you as an individual? You know? And what are you bringing to the table? Even if what you're bringing is chaotic, even if what you're bringing is despair and hurt and even mistrust or distrust,
Mm-hmm.
bring it. I want to hear it. I want to hear your story. So it's just open up and let's discuss it. You know, as much as you want, when you want. Sitting around and waiting for the old dude to tell you that you need to protect your house, you know, is kind of redundant. It's your house. You know you have to protect it. And I'm only using that as an example, you know,
Mm-hmm.
no slight, no shade, you know, but the whole thing is that it's just evident that sometimes, like you said, we are bringing our past into our future.
Yeah.
That can't be helped, but it can be filtered. You know, it can be even utilized as fertilizer or even as a catalyst for change. But
Mm.
to just bring it and again layer it on top. Oh well, I'm Ifani Sheshe and all of this, but I'm still carrying on like, you know, the pastor and the congregation or the deaconess, you know, or the pastor be male or female. And
Mm-hmm.
that is something that we're struggling against, but not battling. And as I
Mm-hmm.
stated in my novel, you know, A Place of Nights, War and Resurrection, when Amina states, I'm not going to fight you, but I'm not going to surrender to you either,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And I still kind of, you know, kind of hold that dear. We don't have to fight our past, but we don't have to
Yes.
surrender to it either. We filter it,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and we reflect on it, and then we determine how we're going to improve ourselves as a result. So that word is out to all of the new and upcoming, you know, babas and iyas and you know whatever other titles one may have. Are you not seeing the tree because you're concerned about your high view, quote unquote, and you're looking down on the forest,
Mm.
you know? How
Mm-hmm.
can we get to the root? Because the roots underground are more connected than the leaves on and the branches, leaves, twigs, and branches that are on the trees. So we want to get to our roots, but we still looking at the top of the canopy of the forest. We're not
Mm-hmm.
even looking at the trees. We're not taking people as as they are and who they are and loving them for that.
Mm-hmm.
Not tolerating them for that, but loving them for that. You know? That is the pragmatic approach to Ifani Shisha.
Mm-hmm. I think that's so beautiful. That's how you put that with the trees analogy. Now, anybody that's here, you're welcome to share the live if this resonates with you. Leave a comment, share the live, invite others to be a part of this conversation that we're having. Give thanks. I'm very thankful for you sharing that.
Yeah, yeah. So
Ashe.
there's so much to discuss, and as we see now, okay, we're into Ilekes part two, right?
Is this clear? Do you know enough?
Yes,
Okay.
okay. Uh, Ilekes part two can continue on to Ilekes 222 because see, we need to continually put our finger on the pulse of what the Ilekes are, what are the origins of our Ilekes, what impact are the Ilekes having on ourselves presently, okay? And what impact are we having on the future? Not what the future or how the future is impacting us, but how are we impacting the future? Okay? Now, all of these ways can be discussed. I mean, they could be courses, classes from pre-K to college, and we'll still be trying to understand why is it that we have these Ilekes and what do these Ilekes mean to us? Okay. Yeah, we lost the picture. Please, I'll bring it back up because I want to read the statement on top. Okay. Now, one of the uh, points that I wanted to make initially comes from a clip that came across my desk, and I just used that term and did say that something I found out as I'm researching and seeing what's going on out there in the world. But I came across this, and I wanted to share it as, let's just say, if we were making a list on why it's important to have our Ilekes, and what does it mean to have our Ilekes, and from whence do our Ilekes come, and to where we're going to take them. Okay, now check this out. The first step, especially for young people with energy and drive and talent, I don't know how I feel about that being in my 70s because I still have, okay, energy, drive, and talent, but that's all right. I'm going to roll with this, but not money. Okay. The first step to controlling your world, and this is where, it gets deep. The first step to controlling your world is to control your culture. The first step to controlling your world is to control your culture. And no matter how you see your world, as a microcosm or as a macrocosm, you raising your children to you being the CEO of some major corporation, whatever your world is, according to this individual, Chuck Palahniuk, okay? The first step to controlling that world is to control your culture, to model and demonstrate the kind of world you demand to live in, to write the books, make the music, shoot the films, paint the art. And I'm like, isn't that what we've been saying for the past 50 years? And not just telling people, because that whole thing about being told and being taught, conversation with that with Oshuniyi, okay, yesterday, okay, is that, and again, people are starting to echo our teachings here. She said, "Well, yeah, but that's what they told me. That's not what they taught me. That's what they told me. That's what I said. Now you're getting it, okay." But here, we're not only saying, as echoed by Chuck, okay, is that yes, we must write our books, we must make our music, we must shoot our films, we must paint our art as Ifa and Isheshe or Lucine devotees, regardless of your title or whatever high horse is tired of you being on it. Okay? What are you really contributing as opposed to what are you continually regurgitating, you know? And what are you bringing to the maturity as an adult, not how childish and indecisive you can become. These are concrete, ever real time kind of statements that our school, Sacred Waters Healing Temple, Carriday Nation, this is what we're bringing. And we're not just telling people to do it, we are modeling it. How many books have I written now? Oh, 10. How many short stories? How many poems? How many published works? I'm not just telling people they need to do it. I'm here. And if you are taking the classes, you are encouraged to write. Not just sit there in the pew, you know, with hands folded and looking all upward when the directive is to look inward and to get your hands moving, you know. Ire lo wo, the blessings of your own hands, your own work. Okay. So, of course, before considering this piece, you know, I looked this individual up. 'Cause I'm just not going to throw anybody up there, and saw this his origin, Ukrainian and French. Came up a little early in life with trauma. You know, um, came to understand some things, and he wound up writing 19 books. You know, so he's someone who has gained some insight, and I can respect that as a writer and as someone who knows what it takes to go deep, to go deep inside and bring something out that supports who you are and 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 your culture. We can control where we are headed by controlling our input to our culture. Okay, so I just wanted to start with that and then say where in the Ilekes, okay, is a cognitive decision, okay, bringing forth the artistry right down to the colors. And I think it was Babawa Ifashegun who mentioned last week, sort of a reminder about the chromotherapy that we've been teaching. Why are Oshun's Ilekes the color that they are? And it could be as vast as, well, uh, copper and brass. Okay, it can be honey. It can be the yellowish stones at the bottom of the Oshun River. You see, so there's various ways of looking at it. Some people can feel the warmth of the sun and look up and see the yellowish white and say, well, I'm feeling Oshun's warmth. Some people can look at gold and say, well, Oshun is blessing me with the abundance, you know, because this gold is valuable. It has a wide range, and it can be interpreted, these colors. I'm not going to go through, you know, every last one of them. I just want to ignite, the thinking process. Continual discussion classes, okay, are available. But here for Sunday service, it's just like to get you zoned in to greater possibilities and deeper levels of perceiving, and hence shifts in the paradigm of your perception of things, not taking everything somebody tells you at face value, and then you're running around believing in it with no cross referencing, no study on your own. Who's setting the example? Who's teaching? Oh, well, Oshun's color is the color of honey. Okay, well, Oshun's color is the color of honey. And then you leave it at that, and then that's what you go with. Like that's all that she represents. Do you see how finite, you know, and how constricted that way of thinking is? All I'm asking is that we expand our minds. Everybody, oh, my Ori, but you got your Ori into such a little box, and that box got a lock on it, and somebody else has the key to it. Okay, it's time to free your mind. Okay, so I'll do one or two more and then move on. So let's look at Obatala, for example. Okay, and people say, well, okay, well, All right. G1 Obatala Ilekes that I received back in 1991. Okay. Uh, Ejibo, Nigeria. Okay. Right. From my ear, Ibaye Egun. Okay. Um, Iyanla Keye Akbede. Right. And it's like, well, Obatala is the Orisha of white cloth and all that, and so Obatala is you know white in terms of clothing, and I'm saying that's not entirely the truth. That's what we are told via syncretisms. That's not what actually is via ancestral interpretations of color. Now, it took some digging, but that's why that shovel is in the Ogun pot for those of you who have your warriors. And need to start waging some war with them. You know what I mean? But the whole thing is that we see the color white, which in Yoruba is fun fun, but we see Oba Ta'ala, the king of clarity, the chief of clarity, okay? The essence and the being of clarity, the immersion of all colors of light that explodes inside the mind when one reaches some level of awakening. You understand? That light inside of us is not the color of Ilekes. It's the color of the sun. And the sun is not yellow. The sun is whitish. And that sun and the elements of that solar existence that we share is within us as well. And that's what Obatala represents. Oh, Obatala is in the head. Obatala controls the head. No, Obatala does not control the head. Okay. The Ori is the essence of mind and all that generates the mindfulness of our existence, body, mind, spirit. That's Ori, Orisha, the empowerment, the internal combustion of one's own consciousness, one's metacognition. How do we think about what we're thinking about? Okay? This is Ori. Obatala is here, where we find that the thyroids, and we come to understand that the thyroids regulate all other glands, endocrine glands within the body. And that's when I say Obatala is here. People, oh, well, that's the head. No, no, here. Ori, okay. Then we go through the various endocrine glands within the body. This is Orisha internal, my people. You know? Back to bringing our past indoctrination into the roots of our existence. Oh well, all of the spirits and all of the angels and all of the Orisha, they're beings outside of us, and we have to not work within ourselves, but we have to keep giving out of ourselves. And I'm saying, and I'm gonna look you straight in the eye, and I'm saying that we're being misled. We're being misled. Okay? Take the responsibility. And I know responsibility is rigorous, but we must take the responsibility of internalizing the Orisha. And the Ilekes serve as reminders of that. Okay? Yes, there's a connection to the external world, okay, obviously. But there's also a connection to the internal world. And that doesn't seem to be so obvious. Okay. So we are seeking via Obatala, we are seeking clarity. Okay. And from Oshun, the solar plexus, we are seeking that internal combustion, that generating force that does bring abundance to us. The rivers that she represents are those stones that we pull from the river. Okay, those yellowish stones, they are reminders of our ancestral being and the circulation throughout our bodies, all the systems of our circulation. They are the rivers, they are the streams that our ancestors are allegorically referencing. Okay. We need to get over this notion that we just didn't know anything until Arabs and Europeans, Caucasoids. We need to break free of that. And that brings me to Ogun. Okay. Not so much represented there in the picture, but represented here in my hands. Now, just had a great talk with Brother Dre, about the five Ilekes being presented as opposed to the seven. And those two absent are Ogun and Oya. Now, I want to touch on Ogun briefly, again, just to kind of open up conceptualization here. And of course, we can further discuss during classes. But let's look at Ogun and warfare. Oh well, Ogun is the Orisha of war, and we're gonna put on our palm fronds and we're gonna get a machete and we're just gonna go and we're gonna dance and this is the Oriki and then the Pataki he did this and blah 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 and blah blah blah. Ain't a daggone thing in there teaching us about warfare. So here we have, okay, Ogun Ilekes, whether you get them from the pragmatic school, which says, well, if we're going to go all the way, then let's go all the way. So you're going to get seven. We're not playing with you. You're not a child. So we have Ogun. We have knowledge of Ogun. We play the songs of Ogun. We have bata rhythms for Ogun. And we just marvel at ceremonial and rituals. Well, I gotta bring a rooster for Ogun and blah blah blah. Blah. But I hear very little, if anything, about warfare. Warfare. Like we're afraid of warfare when it's going on around us all the time. And you might say, oh, Lord, hey, um, war is all out there. But I'm going to give you this to ponder, my people: psychological warfare. Okay? Psychological warfare. Where do our Ilekes come in? Where does Ogun come in? Where do the Orisha come in? When we have to battle insane, negative, derogatory depictions of us, where does Ogun and the Lekes and the Orisha, symbolically represented by these Lekes, where do they come in when we're put in the back? Okay? When we're misdiagnosed, when we're mass incarcerated. Oh, well, I just want to see Ogun dance. Or I just want to give Ogun this rooster. No, you missing it. You missing it. And because you missing it, we are missing it. Because every one of you makes we. And I'm looking at the trees. I'm not looking at the forest. I'm putting the onus, I'm putting the responsibility on every single person that's listening here. Every single person who picks up those Ilekes and says, "Oh, I'm Orisha, I'm a Orisha," and yeah, great, great. That's so nice. Okay, but what grown up stuff are you doing out there? You know, how are you a warrior on the field of battle? And like Dre said, that's the anvil inside of the Ogun cauldron. He's like, that's the battlefield, Bob. And I'll be right honest, it took me a minute because the brother's deep, and I was like, okay, so then what is the hammer for? he was like, no, that the top of the anvil, that's the battlefield. I was like, dang, brother, nice, nice, got us thinking, got us dialoguing about the symbolic representations, not the object itself in its concrete form. Oh, I got my. Most people don't even know what's in there. And they didn't come through the coordination because I had folks lay that stuff out. Were you gonna have Ogun? Okay, you're gonna have Ogun. But we are charged by the Orisha to wage psychological warfare against those who would bring our people down, those who are detrimental to the continuation of the greatness of we as a people. And that's not rhetoric, that's real time. Okay. And I invite you in closing to look at each Orisha in a similar light. I'm not going to say the same because each tree is unique. Okay, but in a similar light. So if we take Ogun again and we look at psychological warfare, okay, we know we got to get busy because they busy waging war against us from churches to schools, from prisons to hospitals. Okay, we don these Orisha to say that we are the living embodiment of our ancestry. We're not we're not we're not from the group that feels as though being supernatural and putting on Ilekes like putting on a cape and jumping off the roof thinking you daggone Superman or whatever. And it's like, no, no, get real, my brothers, get real, my sisters. It's nice to play around in the supernatural world. Oh, what's your old do? And the cards say this and this and that and other thing. Okay, well that's fine. But meanwhile, our children are failing in schools. You know, meanwhile, they're being inundated, by the profane, and we're saying over here is sacred. These are sacred waters over here. Okay, so we got to take some of that water and give to our people. Okay, it's like I've seen people just like there's some fancy beads to put on. Okay, spiritual maturity. Okay, so we can look at Shango. I was like, again, Shango, the double bladed axe. Okay. Now, what if I were to say that each Orisha had its job or their job in the elimination process? We hit on that last week. The sacredness of elimination, the sacredness of removing toxicity from our bodies. But we are not speaking of Orisha in those terms because we want the pretty, you know? We want to dress up, we want the parades, you know. Meanwhile, we're losing battles and wars. Okay. So if I were to say to you, perhaps Shango, in all of his royalty, who kind of stepped a little too far to the left, okay, because of arrogance and stubbornness and all that goes with it, has learned his lesson and now teaches it to others, just like what we all do. We learn from the wrong things that we do just as much as we learn from the right things that we do. And this is what Shango is now teaching us as a young Orisha. You know, Shango didn't come about until 1600s or whatever. You know, but as an Orisha, nonetheless. And he's saying that I will free you from whatever poisonness that your arrogance is attached to. Because perhaps you're arrogant for a reason. Perhaps some trauma in life makes you feel as though it's all about you, and it's going to be all about you regardless. And you'll fight to the end for your arrogance, behind your stubbornness, behind your machismo and your toxic male masculinity. You know? I'm going to help you because see that blade got two sharp sides on it. Okay, take heed because we have to eliminate that from you. That's toxic. Okay. Now, oh Shun, why is her skin so beautiful? You understand what I'm saying? Oh, she's so pretty and she's so fit and feminine. Yeah, well, you think because she's sitting around eating garbage all day, polluting her body all day. If we were to even take that notion of her femininity, how does she keep that going? Well, she eats properly, but she also eliminates properly. Toxins build up and they start coming out your skin. Now we got rashes and boils and all kinds of stuff happening. But no, see, we don't want to talk about enemas and colonics. Oh, we don't want to talk about that. And I'm like, why not? We are adults, you know. We don't want to talk about herbs that are laxative. We don't want to talk about herbs that help, clean our bodies. Wow. All right, I'm gonna stop here, but I'm sharing with you that donning these Ilekes, putting these Ilekes on, is more than what meets the eye. Okay, and it goes much further than whatever you're told, because here you're gonna be taught. All right, and next one, my dear, and thank you. Oh, Ianifa, any comments before we go to the next slide?
Mm.
What what do you say about all of this and all of that?
There's no comments, but I say that I'm just happy that you're bringing it up because it is important that we understand that once we say that we are accepting of the Orishas and you put it over your head, the
Hmm.
first thing, like we say it and we say it again and again, that Ori reigns supreme. There's nothing um that you can receive if your Ori doesn't receive it. So once you put that over your head, you're
Hmm.
not just putting it on for adoration. You're not just wearing your leggings for adoration. You're wearing it to take knowledge and question what this means. Finally, here with us, the Sacred Waters Healing Temple and Carry Day Nation, it is actually being taught versus somebody's just giving you something and telling you to go about your business, go about your way, or go take on the world and then come back and probably get a reading or come back and tell us all the stuff that you're still going through while wearing the Elekes, and then I'm gonna call you crazy, you know, like, oh, you trauma, you still got problems, it's just like, can you help me unpack what it is that I am accepting. I'm here, I'm accepting it. I know that life is going on, but I still have some curiosities and some things are coming to me. Then you're like, well, why are you having the thoughts about it? Like you said, why do they look at Oshun as this glamorous, beautiful embodiment? Question that somebody asked me was, why does Oshun hold the mirror up? And to me, that's one of the Apate keys that I've always resonated with is her in her mirror and why she uses it. It's not just because she's just self-absorbed and in the mirror all the time, but it's because she's not afraid to go to look at herself and do the work that she needs to be done and and reflect on that, do interpersonal stuff, even in her hurt, because she was hurt at one point. She was exiled from her community because she was appeared to be weird when she got pregnant with the twins, with the Ibeji twins with Shango. They ran her out. She ran out and went to the wushes. I mean to the woods. I said to the wushes. She ran out and went to the woods and she stayed there. And then the next Pataki was her being there and being considered an alligator, like be even that translates to being um ugly, you know, undesirable,
Mhm.
and in so many in the swamps going through things. You're not with your children, you know. How what's wrong with you? That type of thing. So what are we receiving when we accept the Ilekes? They're more than Ilekes. And I know that I have spoke to you and had this conversation with someone else. It's like the term Ilekes is a late term. It's not,
Yeah.
it hasn't even been around for a long time.
Yeah.
Eleke ceremony, what is the real meaning of this ceremony? What is it about? And so, what did you just go undergo when you went through that ceremony? So,
Mhm.
I'm just happy that you're bringing it into and you're encouraging people to make something of it. You receive something, go out into the world and create something, continue to expand on what that is. Yeah. So, Tracy, I always be examination mode. Always be in self-examination mode. I say, absolutely. That's how we get grow for real.
Mhm. Let's see. Another individual, last name like Moon. I saw at the end.
She said a Bora Boye, but she should.
Okay. Boy.
Welcome, welcome. Thank you for being here. That's a new name. We haven't seen that name.
Yes. Yes.
Not sure who that
Retreat.
is, but thank you for joining us. If you have any questions or anything, go ahead, leave it in the chat and we'll try to get to it. And if you enjoy this message, I encourage you to share it. Thank you.
All right. All right. Okay.
Mhm.
So segueing into the next slide. Take
Let's
each Orisha. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, please. Yeah. Leave it right there. Each Orisha, Ileke. Okay. At some point, look at each one and start taking note on what you know. Okay. You can start with what you've been told, and you can start with what's being regurgitated out there, amongst the syncretisms. Okay. Because see, we have to move you from where you are to where we know is someplace else. Okay. Because after you do that, and again, encouraging you to study with us, take classes, you know, and then you'll begin to see a more ancestral directive, okay? Not in acculturated, and not in a gentrified sense. And it's okay to have gone through that. If Kolade Ianifa and I talked about this the other day, it's like it's okay. We find our way home, and because of historical, the heavy hands of history, I call it. We have been somewhat bent out of shape, you know, even shattered, much less scattered. But the whole thing is, the remnants of it are and remain more accessible. So we go through it. I went through it, but I knew from the beginning that there was more to it than what I was experiencing with these people. And my spirit couldn't accept, the whole Catholic saints and all of that. I'm not judging it. I'm just saying that huh, no way in creation, okay, could I submit to that. But meanwhile, I'm learning. Meanwhile, I'm squeezing water from the rock. Meanwhile, I'm taking in all that I can take in and filtering all that I could filter until I wound up in Nigeria. And through the blessings of that, you know, it all just it just took me. Okay, and I went up a different person and I came down somebody else. Okay, but here we are, right here, right now, making major decisions to move forward with Orisha, with Ifa Isheshe. And while I'm still here, living, breathing, kicking up dust, okay? Let's say raising Cain. Okay? I'm gonna give you all that I have because that's all I have to give. Okay? All right. So let's look at this picture. And what moved me about this picture is, okay, the the everything. Look at the beings who are there, and how they have adorned themselves to include the ornaments around the necks, okay, to include the clay coloredness of their bodies and their garments. I'm like, who did this? Because this was actual footage. It wasn't like some AI thing happened. It was like this was actual footage. This was an actual event. And this group who were part of this event came out with this. I'm like, darn, talking about controlling your world via your culture. And in the background, they're like everyday people. You see folks in the background, and it hit me hard that this is how Orisha worked in our world. This is how our ancestors worked in our world. This is how, from the clay, you know, from the mud, we emerge amongst our people. And I'm like, that's me. That speaks to me because I'm speaking to myself. It's classic. And if you ever took a class with me, I would give you this picture as a part of Ifa Isheshe speculative writing and say, come up with a short story and or poem that reflects this picture. But it has to be at its core ancestral Egun or deities Orisha orientated. Here amongst the people are our divinities. And they're not asking anything from the people. but they're pouring into the bowl a libation for the people. This is what I mean when I say the Ilekes are all about. It opens us up to a greater sense of existence, perception of existence, the seeing of our existence. Somebody saw that before these divine beings put themselves through it in order to present themselves, to manifest themselves in this form and in this fashion. I'm telling you, people, all the big fancy parades and and all of the big shrines and all this kind of stuff that we see, from Brazil, Rio de Janeiro up to New York City, and all the Odun days in Philadelphia. Yes, all that is fine. It's so nice. Everybody go to the river and pour their champagne in and throw flowers. Okay, cool. But where are we? Where are we in here? We are more where these people are from a pragmatic approach. Hmm. I really like this picture. We want wait till the next series of classes. Oh man, it's going to be deep, Jinle, deep. Okay. Any comments or reflection on this picture? Because I'm telling you, it's classic. Can't
Oh, I had muted it. My apologies. I
no
said
problem.
no. We don't have any comments or anything on it as of right now, but I like it and I understand the concept
Yeah.
because it's kind of just like how does that quote go about the lion being the narrative of his story or being hunted? I forget
Uh,
how it goes.
okay. It's something to the effect where uh, the hunter tells the story,
Yes.
whereas in that which has been captured or killed has not much to say. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. And I it just reminds me of that quote, even though I can't remember it verbatim.
yeah, yeah, but you get the idea.
But you
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? It's like no one else can understand what your interpretation of something is unless you are able
Hmm.
to articulate it
Right.
yourself or bring it into perspective or like they did into art expression. And
Hmm.
so um, it reminds me of whenever I lived in Mexico, like during 2020, 2015 to 2016, that between that time and 2018. And Trump was just coming into administration. And so
Hmm.
over like social media and the news, everybody believed that if I moved to Mexico, that I was going to be stuck out of the US because of what the media was putting
Hmm.
out.
Right.
But then I'm like, I cross the border every day
Hmm.
from from Rosarito to
Yeah.
San Diego, like every day. There's not a border anywhere. He is not building anything, but because they had so much control over what people were quote unquote seeing through media, they believed it.
Hmm.
Versus what I am literally telling them,
See.
that's not happening.
Right.
And so it just really it makes a big difference when you yourself can get up and say or be the narrative of your own story
Yes.
or be able to articulate, be able to express through whatever it is. Those carnivals and stuff are beautiful, but I also know a lot of people that go and attend those carnivals for the aesthetic or
Yes.
the
Hmm.
attraction of what that
Right.
is. And I rarely ever hear what the truth of what that is. I even down here in Louisiana, I love like Mardi Gras and how people celebrate it. But
Hmm.
once I went and started asking, like, okay, what exactly is Mardi Gras about?
mm,
It's like everybody coming together, all of these different cultures and ethnicities coming together. Like, okay, and not, no, I don't want to participate in that,
right.
But then now they started celebrating Black Native traditions, in a
Mm,
sense that you see them like they're dressing up with their big feather costumes and stuff now. And when they go out, they're not powwowing around like what we've been told native
mm,
ceremonies are all about. They're not powwowing around. Instead, they're like talking smack to each other. Like
yeah,
that's their way of
mm,
expressing and saying, like, we've been here, we've been doing these things, and
mm,
this is our native
yeah,
ways. This is our isheshe, to say this,
right.
but
I love
that's them coming together and controlling that and rewriting it, even if they do, or just taking control of whatever that narrative is whenever they put their Black Native, Black Indian
mm,
customs on. Yeah.
right.
So I do understand.
Mm,
I understand what this expression, this art piece is that you did, and I like that you included that in today.
all right. Uh, next one.
Yeah. This one.
Okay. Yeah. Ending this part with a review. We showed this slide last week, and the power of it again is the Ilekes as umbilical cords that connect us to the cosmic mother, okay, to the Yemoja essence, if you will. We talked about Yemoja and Osset, in terms of a timeless realization that the human essence, the human birth thing, okay, is of cosmic reality. It's not just human beings who give birth, it's like every creature on the planet in one way or the other. Okay. But this is reflective of a creative essence because stars are born as well, galaxies are born as well, and they also pass. You see? So there's this whole kind of cosmic connection that we are set to make as a result of our Ilekes. And I'm sharing with you, it goes further than the initiatory process. Oh, I got initiated. I got initiated. Okay, well, that's fine, you know? And everybody, gets happy and gets mounted, and, it's real fun and fantastic and supernatural. And we're saying that's fine. But as I would always share with those who came through Temple of the Mystic Path back before the day, is that at some point, them training wheels have to come off. At some point, you need to be prepared to balance yourself in this world as an adult, as someone who has been initiated, not someone who has kind of gone through a ceremonial experience and has felt something move through them. Okay, fine. You can experience that in so many other ways. Okay. And it is experienced in so many other ways. It's part of the human capacity to experience beyond the concrete self. Okay. To be that plant, that rose that grows up through the concrete, to coin a phrase. Yeah. There's something about us that no matter where we are, that can and is liable to happen, no matter what quote unquote religion or quote unquote spiritual path that we follow or are forced into. The human capacity allows for that. Okay? So here we are, you know. ancestrally driven to express it through what we now term Ifa Isheshe. You see? And again, the Ilekes become as sacred as that umbilical cord. And our birth is not one of sinfulness. That's some other stuff from some other people that's been carried on more so by military conquest than actual logic, actual science. Oh, we're all born sinners. Well, I wasn't born a sinner. And who told you that again? Okay. And how are they justifying that? How are they, bringing any proof to that? Oh, because there's sin in the world. Okay. Um, yeah. And what is sin again? Because one people's sin is another people's blessings. Okay, so it is a matter of perspective, right? Oh well, women are the cause of it because Eve uh, was talking to a snake and she bit out. Okay, come on now. What channel are we watching? Okay, can we get to something a little bit more, you know, actual? Something a little bit more. Don't. And I'm like my sisters. Whew, please don't fall for that. And if you're filtering out of that in Abrahamic indoctrination, know that we're here for you because see, sacred waters can assist in cleansing that. Carry Nation can assist in helping you to psychologically defeat those notions because they are subliminal. Okay. And no matter how hard you say it's not there, you can dig a little deeper because evidently, you know, it is still there. Okay, and also with the brothers, seeing our sisters in that light. Well, they're all the cause of the problems in the world. No, they're the cause of you being in this world, my brother. Okay, so holding on to one set of objects because that's all they are. They're just beads and probably made anywhere on the planet. You know, but it's the belief in the sacredness that they contain symbolically. Therefore, when we exercise doing that with our Ilekes, we can more easily do that embracing a sacred perspective, perception of self and others. And if we all agree that Yemoja is the Ia in La, the Ia Lage, the yay of all feminine essence, then we can look at each other as sacred beings. Wow. And maybe that's what Arumula meant in Ejiakbe when he said that every human being can become an Orisha. And see, on one side of that is, oh, well, you got to work hard, you got to be legendary. You understand what I mean? It's like, well, you got to climb this high mountain and stand and up in the clouds and look out and people, bowing down to you. Oh, you're an Orisha, you're an Orisha. Maybe, maybe what he meant was we can all be Orisha because that's how we see one another. Not as some superhero, super magic, super natural being, but as heroic and sheroic right here, right now. I can look at Ianifa and say, it's not that you have Orisha, it's that I see the Orisha in you. And the more that it emanates, the more clearly you become that Orisha. I can see Iyawa Adeola and say, all right, Eshu is speaking to you in so many ways. Okay. I see the Eshu in you. You are therefore, in my eyes, an Orisha. And the offerings that I make to you too, as well as to everyone who's a part of this school of thought, this spiritual rhythm that we have, we are Orisha because that's how we see one another. And I'm like, I hear you, Arumila. I hear you. It's taken 50 daggone years to get it. But I'm starting to, I'm starting to understand. Starting to understand that this is how we control our worlds through our culture, as Ianifa just really kind of touched upon. You understand? It has to make sense to us. I try to present it in a way that people can argue, but they can't debate. You can't debate that people become how they're viewed, how they're seen. That's non debatable. And that's why systems are in place to present derogatory images in subtle and obvious ways, because how somebody sees you has a great impact on what you become and how you think about yourself. That's non debatable. You can argue it all day and all night, but you can't debate it. Okay. So I want to go to the next one right quick. We have about 15, 20 more minutes. Okay. I added a couple of slides to leave you with, but to bring you in with. All right. Can we make it just a little larger, my dear? Okay. Just a little bit down. I want to see those first words. All right. So this came across my desk. Okay. Just today, and I've not seen too many other people, and maybe once every other blue moon, somebody will come up with the Orisha internal in some fashion or form. And so when I came across this, a young Baba out in Nigeria, you know, um, and I said, okay, now he's talking about the Orisha are within you. And of course, in my comments, I put Ashe because see, I'm not about anything else except reinforcement. Okay, not regurgitation, not and he presents it well. The Orisha are not just old stories; they are living energies that move through nature, through the wind, the water, the fire, and earth. They are alive and they exist within you. And I'm like, well, somebody's been doing their homework, okay? Because no one was speaking about this prior to the Handbook of Yoruba Religious Concepts. Let me rephrase that. No one whom I had come across. Okay. Now, recently, there has been two or three babalaos or, aberratians, and on Facebook or whatever social media platform, who are kind of leaning into this understanding. But let it be known that Carriday Nation fought for this. And I'll talk about that psychological warfare, you know, yeah, okay, stories I could tell. But at any rate, your head, your crown is your sacred space. It is where your destiny lives and where divine guidance comes from. When you stay connected to your crown, your Ori, you stay connected to your Ori, your higher self, inner wisdom. Okay? We'll talk more about that next week. The Orisha are not just your spiritual guides. Honoring them is not about looking outside yourself, it is about awakening the power and truth that already lives within you. The calmness of Obatala, the strength and justice of Ogun, the love and sweetness of Oshun, and the power and clarity of Shango. And these are not just forces of nature, they're also parts of who you are. Okay. He's you know, dipping his toe in the water. Okay. To walk with Orisha means to live with alignment. Titite, alignment. It means to listen to yourself, live with purpose, and treat your life as something sacred. Hmm. Your breath becomes prayer and your actions become offerings. Hmm. Orisha do not leave those who remember them. They reveal themselves to those who truly seek and support those who stand strong in their divine nature. All right. Check plus. Okay. All right, young Baba. Okay. I'm all for it, you know. And if you're reaching these revelations, within yourself, outstanding. If you are listening to us, outstanding. Okay. And just before we move on to the last picture, I wanna say this part about it means to listen to yourself, live with purpose, and treat your life as something sacred. Okay, that's fine. Okay, I really want to say that's important. And I'm going to call upon the Odu Osa Iwori because I know that, people are with their Ilekes the same way they are about divinations or, yeah, I'm going to get a reading. Okay, and not being studied in the process nor the Odu itself. Okay. Again, waiting for somebody to tell you what to do, waiting for some outside force to guide you to an infinite outsideness, a never ending. Oh, you got to heal. Well, yeah, that's an everyday process until the last day. Okay. Or you got to get stronger. Well, yeah. Okay. Ifa says you're going to have troubles in life. Well, yeah. It's called getting up and going to work every morning. Some things are just so obviously mentioned in translation, but they get magnified because we don't want to tell ourselves the truth about our strengths nor our weaknesses. And therefore, we have great difficulty navigating it, even when we put the Ilekes on. It's like we're still just in a daggone little walker, the little babies in the walker, rolling around, bumping into stuff and whatever. You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, at some point we kind of grow out of that. And in Osai Iwari, it states, as I have stated for the past 50 years, even as a diviner, I tell people you can't figure this out on your own. Oh, I don't know if I should get a job or not. What do you mean you don't know if you should get a job or not? You're a grown behind man with a woman pregnant and a 7-year old. What do you mean you don't know if you should get a job or not? You know? It's more about the money. It's about them seeing you as a man who puts work into their mindset. Okay? So Here we need to see as a suggestion that, going back to Osai Worry, I don't want to lose my train of thought here, is that wise deliberation must be taken into account before divination, before one seeks consultation. When one is hungry, they do not have to divine in order to eat. If one is being chased by a lion, one does not have to divine in order to get up on out of there. You see, that this whole notion of being the child who just can't seem to figure things out for themselves is what the whole kind of Abrahamic thing is built upon. You're not worthy. You're a sinner. You have to go through somebody in order to find God. Like you can't go through yourself. That's not the way it is in Ifa. That's not the way it is in Ifa Nisheshe. And I will stand against it until the day I die. And I will leave the legacy on to those entrusted. We will not surrender to that way of thinking and that way of being, non being, and existing within somebody's delusional state of our non existence. And yeah, we can go to the Odu for all you Odu thumpers out there. Osa Iwori. Okay. Now I'm gonna leave everyone with this picture, because this is an artist depiction that I feel as though worthy of sharing uh, in respect to what our Orisha uh, would not only look like, but feel like. You see? There's no apparent discord here, nor disharmony. It's not one Orisha or the other. It's all Orisha. If I could make one Ileke, I would have all the symbolic beads for each Orisha to say that they're not separate. And like everything in the body works together, everything in the universe works together, the Orisha work together. Oh, I'm a Shango. Well, yeah, but where would Shango be without all the other Orisha? All 400 plus one of them. Oh, I'm an Obatala. Da, 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 da. Okay, well, fine. But where would Obatala be if there was no Yemoja, if there was no Oya, if there was no Ogun Shaka? You understand? You understand? This whole competitive thing, from carryovers of Abrahamic war god, lends us into the flip side of patakis, where all of that has been kind of dumped in that thought. Well, the Orisha are combatant against each other. They don't like each other. You know, I find little of that in actual Odus. Okay, very little. So again, learn to filter, because as I've written in A Place of Nights, you know, those Ilekes are like constellations, and every star outside of some rogue stars, they all exist. Every star out there exists in full knowing that there are other stars. I exist in full knowing that each of you is in cooperation, collaboration, consistency with me, not competition, not conflict, not chaos. That is a state of mind. and that state of mind can be transcended. Let the Ilekes assist you in that process. Ashe. Okay, Ian.
Wonderful.
Mm,
Hopefully, those who caught that was able to gather what they needed for that message, medicine, words. I
mhm.
just got a lot of ashes.
Okay, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. But
Mm-hmm.
man, I don't know what else to say, except for I don't know what else I got to say.
You've said plenty.
Yeah, what more can I say? Except for me, there's no greater love than the love I have for the Ifa Isheshe people.
And that's more than enough, just to know that the path has already been laid before those that's willing to take that trip,
Mm-hmm.
to embark on the path and to do the work and know what they are becoming,
Mm-hmm.
and to uphold all that has been spoken. So I give thanks to everybody that joined today. And you can look forward to the link for next week's topic. I don't know if we're going to be going any further into the Orishas, but the Orishas have been a hot topic over the last
Two.
month, really. It's because it's been 4 weeks. Yeah.
Uh, Next week we're gonna start talking about Gidi, authentic human beings, and that's
Okay.
going to be a two-part Sunday Ifa Sheshe service as well.
Mm-hmm.
And also, if people want further insights, they can visit the YouTube channel under Sacred Waters Healing Temple for the Awake with Ifa.
Yeah.
Now, because I kind of conjoin Sunday services with Awake with Ifa, and
Mm-hmm.
either way, it's still me. I'm still coming from where I come from. And that's available.
Mm-hmm.
Classes are also available for those who really want to, you know, make some deep and uh, lasting changes.
Yes, classes
Yeah.
are available.
So we're here, everyone. We're here
Ashe.
for you.
Ashe. Well, till next time.
Until next time.
Odabo family.
Dabo.
Odabo.